There are a lot of fun and exciting ways to speed farm on the Necromancer in the upcoming season. And instead of redoing every build guide I've ever made, I thought I would take a minute and just give you guys a taste of all the viable speed farm builds in the upcoming season, so you guys can decide for yourself exactly what you want to play in the upcoming season. Each updated written guide will be in the video description below, along with the original video guide, so you guys can check those out. So without further ado, let's get into it. As always, a few caveats before we begin. The following gameplay is with all intelligence Paragon removed, so before you make your comments about Paragon, pump the brakes, buddy. But the gear is good, and most of it is augmented. As a lot of you guys know, I don't do this full time. I have a full-time job, so I don't have the time to refarm the gear just for the purpose of seeing what they do out of the box. Nor do I necessarily think that's what build guides should be. But each attempt is first try. They're not specially farmed for the purpose of this video. So starting out with the 4 most powerful speed farm builds for the Necromancer in the upcoming season, and in no particular order. First up, we have the latest Hotness, the brand new build in patch 2.6.6, Blood and Essence Necro. This build makes use of the new Reaver in conjunction with proccing Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac with the command skeletons to give you 100% uptime on Land of the Dead. That's right, you heard me. 100% uptime, leaving you to spend your blood and essence on casting curses. This build also uses the new Scorch Necklace, and because everything is frozen, it's quite easy to maintain all the stacks. This, of course, is a cold build. The only weakness I would give this build is if you are starved for density, it can be sometimes pretty annoying to have 100% uptime on Land of the Dead. But overall, a super fun and brand new way to play Necro in the upcoming season. Next up, we have the Legacy of Dreams Singularity Speed Necromancer. Not quite as powerful as it was in Season 17 with the Legacy of Nightmares buff, but the new Legacy of Dreams keeps this build as a viable and powerful option. This is an elite sniping build that does a good job of killing trash along the way. Your mages hit like a truck, leaving you to focus on dodging damage. Biggest weakness of this build is that Final Service is still an overall fairly bad cheat death passive, and being elite starved can be less than fun. This, in my opinion, is the go-to build for farming bounties on a Necromancer, and most likely the go-to torment farming build. This build can also be played using the Rathma set at the cost of damage, but could be the best means of running Sage and Torment farming for Season 18. Next, we have one of my personal favorites, the Blight Spear Necromancer. Mastering this particular build is quite literally an art form. This is an elite sniping build whose primary directive is to find elites, pop Land of the Dead, and obliterate everything on the screen with a poisonous Corpse Lance. A delicate balance of spamming Bone Spear and Corpse Lance is required, but once mastered, the build flies easily through high GRs and can feel super rewarding. The only weakness, like most Necromancer builds, is poor elite density can be quite the nuisance. Finally, of the top builds, we have the Blightmancer. Yet another build that received a small nerf post the Legacy of Nightmare season, but still maintains high damage through the use of new items. This is a mostly Corpse Explosion focused build, with Corpse Lance as a means of dealing heavy single target damage. Like all the top builds, this is a high CDR build that uses Ingiam, which means getting elite starved in rifts can be obnoxious, which is where the Flesh Golem comes into play. Overall, a super fun way to quickly farm high GR levels. Stepping down in power, but not to be ignored, we have the Inari Corpsemancer, the original Corpse Explosion build that put my channel on the map. This is the most effective means of speed farming with the Inari set. This build received a fairly large upgrade thanks to the new and improved Captain Crimson set and the Flavor of Time. This will easily farm Torment 16 and mid-level GRs, and will beat the go-to start for any Inari starter set season. Corpse Explosion is easily one of the most satisfying skills in the game, and blowing up the entire screen can feel pretty damn good. Stepping down even further in power, we have the Blood Mage Necro. The only reason I keep this build as a viable option is for the seasons that Necromancer starts with Trag'Oul. This build uses Blood Mages and the Justice set to progress through mobs while relying solely on corpses to maintain the costs. Hopefully Trag'Oul will receive buffs in an upcoming season, but for now, this is the go-to start for Trag'Oul. Now, stepping into strictly Torment farming builds, we have one of the fan favorites, the Blood Nova Necromancer. This build was originally going to become obsolete after the season of Legacy of Nightmares, but thanks to the Legacy of Dreams, it remains an extremely powerful and fun way to farm Torment 16. Suck in the entire screen with Brig's Wrath to charge up a devastating Blood Nova thanks to the effect of Bloodtide Blade. You can stand freely in Molten Explosions and tank all damage thanks to Gold Wrap and Boon of the Hoarder. Arguably the best means of gold farming on the Necro, and certainly the most fun way to farm at Torment 16. Now, coming back from the dead, we also have the Razor Teeth Necromancer. This build fell out of the limelight with the increase of Torment levels, but thanks to the fairly massive damage buff of Captain Crimson and Scorched Necklace, this returns as a fairly fun and viable option for Torment farming. We utilize the Razor Teeth rune on the Bone Spear to easily proc Obsidian Ring thanks to a large cone effect. On top of crazy CDR plus Ingyam plus Reaver, 100% uptime on Land of the Dead has literally never been easier. Yet another build returning from the dead is the Pestilence Necro. A fan favorite during the times of Torment 13, but again left in the dust thanks to the increase in Torment levels. It once again returns from the grave thanks to the Squirts and Captain Crimson. Although this build is difficult to gear for, thanks to a very high CDR requirement, of all the Necromancer Torment farming builds, this build scales the best with Paragon, eventually allowing you to non-stop teleport through Torment 16 and kill everything along the way. Now, an honorable mention is the Lich King Necromancer. While not as strong as the Blightmancer, it's still a fun and viable option for Torment and mid-GR farming. Another Legacy of Dreams build that receives some small buffs thanks to Flavor of Time, and making use of Lost Time, Steward's Greaves, and Fueled by Death, it is the fastest movement speed the Necro can achieve. So keep it in mind for times you need to travel and travel fast. Now, the last build I want to mention isn't actually a speed farm build, but a super fun off-meta means of pushing the leaderboard on the Necromancer. Unfortunately, as you guys know, in the current state of the game, Lawn Lancer and Lawn Thorns are the most powerful push builds at the Necromancer's disposal. Lawn Thorns is an incredibly dull and fishy mechanic. Lawn Lancer is simply a less polished version of the Pestilence Cold Lancer that we used to play all last year. So finding different ways to push the Necromancer can be super refreshing. And due to an interesting interaction between Stone Gauntlets and Ice Climbers, Lawn Poison Scythe becomes quite literally the tankiest build you will ever play. You can face tank any composition you come up against due to the sheer mitigation this build can muster. The AoE trash killing potential is immense when stacking area damage, and definitely something you should try out in the upcoming season. That's pretty much going to do it for the video. Those are all the builds that I think are worth checking out in the current state of the game. Let me know in the comment section what you're going to play this upcoming season. I'll of course be playing the start of this next season. Feel free to come hang out. Again, I want to thank all the supporters of the stream, of the YouTube channel. Every little bit goes a long way. As always, guys, like, subscribe, come over to Twitch, ask your questions. I love you guys. Peace out.